Renewables is not only clean, affordable, it's predictable. We are signing with Amazon contracts for 50 years at a price fixed. Why? Because I'm not depending what happened in the Gulf, what happened in Nigeria, what happened somewhere else. Because it's the sign of times.
Electricity. In a sense, it's Earth's own power source. Nature can make it abundant, and it increasingly holds the key, not just to powering an energy-hungry world, but also solving some of society's most pressing problems. Enter Iberdrola's Ignacio Galán, and his vision for making electricity, specifically clean electricity, an integral part of the energy transition. Since taking the helm of Iberdrola in 2001, Mr. Galán has led the company through its own transition, from a Spanish utility dependent on fossil fuel into a global leader in clean energy. As head of utilities and clean energy research, I was eager to sit down with Mr. Galán, now executive chairman, to learn more. So I travelled to Iberdrola's Madrid campus, where our conversation covered everything from the investment case for clean energy to the ripple effects of green data centres. Ignacio, thank you very much for taking the time to meet with us. Back in 2001, you started positioning Iberdrola for energy transition. How did you know? What was the origination of this vision more than 20 years ago?
Love for the nature, for defending and protecting all the things which are related with traditional rural way of life. And 2 or 3 years before was Kyoto. And I said, why we cannot do the things in different manner? We decided to close all our coal and oil power plants. We closed 17 power plants. We decided to invest in renewables. At that time, the most convenient and the most competitive was wind. We decided to reconvert the hydroelectric power plant for storage, to reinforce the grid, and to help and to try to convince the consumers the electrification is an opportunity of not only protecting the planet, but as well is more convenient.
There are a lot of other equity stories in the market which are less capital intense. So how would you make the case for this equity story which needs so much capital over so many decades?
Look the story of Iberdrola. When I joined Iberdrola, I put my money in the company. I have some shares. I think during these 24 years, I'm already receiving a stable, continuous growing returns. In such a way that for every pound I put there, now I think I got 8. But that is the history. How many sectors are in this moment which are booming, which are predictable, which are not dependent of volatility, and with such, let's say, promising new demands, electric devices, artificial intelligence, green hydrogen? How many?
What has surprised you the most? And is there anything, as you look back, that you maybe would have done differently?
Everybody talk about vision. I agree. People talk about goals. It's fine. When you make a plan, you make targets. Fine. But there's some little thing which is execution. And execution is human being. So the people have to execute. I'm so proud of seeing that we have a team of people so committed to deliver, because they are convinced that is the best way for achieving not only the economic target, but the social, that this transformation is good for everybody. When we started in this journey, we have a lot of people who are denying the effects of the climate change. Perhaps I dedicate too much time to convince my people, but not enough to convince another energy players that is good for everybody. Now it's recognized.
Could you explain why tech companies are so keen on green electricity and the implications of these data center power demand for the wider system?
For us, this moment in the United States is around 6% of the American demand. And the projection is that this demand is going more than double in the next 3 years. We are already making a power plant in which we know how much money we are putting there. We know how we are going to finance this one. We know what is our operation maintenance cost, but they are not variable cost. The business is to make a data centers very efficient. I have to say these companies as well are very committed with the global warming. The fact of being very in favor of decarbonization is not going against the profitability. Both things are linked. So these people are doing that because they are convinced, but at the same time because we can already offer a condition for the next 15, 20 years, which is impossible with fossil fuels.
Iberdrola is a global business. You have, therefore, a unique perspective into all of the multifacets of energy transition, the social, the political, the regulatory. From your perspective, what is the most important factor driving progress on this theme, or lack of progress?
The demand of citizens, they are already convinced that they like to have already different energy sources of those we have in traditionally. It's a pity that during these 2 years of energy crisis, the level of renewables in the system was not big enough, because still we were heavily dependent on fossil fuels. So in our case, 80% of our customers had not suffered at all the increasing prices. So for me, something we have to learn from the last energy crisis is that we have to cover our basic demand with sources which are under our control.
What drives the, let's call it the extracurricular activity, given you do so much beyond the company?
I'm committed with trying to do something for my colleagues, for my planet, for my friends, for my country. So you have to deliver more than you receive. I'm already collaborating with universities, I'm collaborating with business school, I'm collaborating with NGOs, because we need to deliver more than we receive.
Yeah, and so you have a presence in Scotland for Scottish Power in the UK. A famous Scotsman once said that hard work is a superpower. I think you have embodied that quite well with your answers here today.
We say something in Spanish. Then those that are doing a lot of things are able to do more things. Those which are doing little things are not able to do nothing.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you to you.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure.